All right. What is up, everyone? Welcome to episode 4 of Vended Thoughts. I'm your host, Dominick Barbato. Today we have an awesome guest. As always, every guest is awesome here. A friend of mine and also a business partner of mine, Yass, serial entrepreneur, owner of Surplus Hands, as well as Enhanced Entrepreneurs. I know he does some other things, but those are the main things he is known for. Yass, thank you so much for coming on, man. I know we're recording late. It's honestly 12:02 a.m. But
Oh,
Yas said I'm pretty busy, but I wanted to get on this podcast. So thank you, Yas, and just introduce yourself, let people know where they can find you on social media. And yeah.
yeah, man. Thank you for having me. Yeah, it is super late, but I'm kind of a night owl, so here we are. But my name is Yas, or long is Yassine. So some of you might know I'm actually Moroccan. I was born in Morocco, moved here to the U.S. When I was 8. So, business honestly has really been like a thing for me ever since I was young. I think I started my first business at 16. So, basically, yeah. I mean, currently I run Surplus Hands, and I also run another company with Dominick here, which is called Enhanced Entrepreneurs, which is basically a community for entrepreneurs to kind of learn and develop their skills. But it's a work in progress. It's not something that is kind of very important to us right now, but at the same time, it is something that we're continuing to build and make something out of it that's really cool. So yeah, that's just a little introduction.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And enhanced entrepreneurs is definitely a cool thing, but as y'all said, it it's and you've told me this, and I think I learned this from you, is focus on your moneymaker. Enhanced entrepreneurs was something that we were like, we want to help people be entrepreneurs. We love doing it. We know we can teach people, but at the same time, teaching people for free and giving your time away when you still have to run other businesses, it does become hard to make an awesome community.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, at the end of the day, like you know, your main business that actually puts food on the table is really the most critical. So surplus hands is that's what it is for me. Kind of like even my other businesses. Ultimately, I invest in surplus hands because it really is the bread maker, and it's the business that's eventually gonna kind of put me forward. And same thing goes for you. You have vending. That's kind of the vending revolution in general. Is
Yes,
your
ma'am.
main income producing activity. So yeah.
Exactly, and that's what I'm focusing on. I think you definitely told me that, and yeah, here we are, years later. I think we've both made some friggin' awesome progress in our lives and what we're doing. I know I've definitely become a different person since how I met you on a cruise, which is
I
funny,
know.
and I like to talk about it for a second. I met you literally in the middle of, I want to say, the Atlantic. I think it might be the Pacific though, but I met you in
Uh,
the middle of
Atlantic,
the
Atlantic,
ocean.
Atlantic.
Okay, I
Yeah.
met you in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, one of the last nights of the cruise, and man, that was so funny because
It was just
for
epic.
some reason we hit it off, and I got your number in a no homo type of way, and basically hit you up after that. I was like, wow, this kid actually has a sweet business, surplus hands you were doing at that time, and here we are, still really good friends, and it's super awesome that we got to start a online community for entrepreneurs.
Yeah, man, it's crazy because we don't even live that far apart. Like you're in New York, I'm in Philly, and at the end of the day, I think we talk every day, even though we haven't seen each other
I
like in
mean, I
years.
annoy you. Let the people know that I'm a very annoying friend and I text you multiple times every day. And you are a busy, busy man, but I do like to text you.
Nah, it's all good. It's appreciated. I have a friend at least, so it's good.
Yeah, that's
Showing the
true. That's
love.
true. Even if he's annoying, you still got a friend here.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Well, man, I really do appreciate you coming on. We're going to talk about some awesome things. I think people want to get to know you. People want to get to know what you do, and I think that's basically what this podcast is all about. Is just bringing people on here. Maybe people know you, maybe people don't. Either way, I think you can learn something from what I'm going to ask you, and the listener can also learn something. So I just love that two-sided coin
Yeah,
of what I'm trying
definitely,
to do here. So we'll see how that goes.
definitely.
All right. But yeah, you can find him on Instagram. What's your ad on Instagram?
My Instagram is Yass, so it's YASS _ chat with a E at the end. So CHATE. So Yass underscore chat. So that's my
And that's
Instagram.
the same also for YouTube. If they just Google that without the underscore, or put it on YouTube, they'll be able to find you on there, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And make sure to check out my Aero Pastel shoot that I just shot for them. Um,
I
it's
forgot that
actually
you
good.
did that.
I know.
Yeah, I forgot that you did that. Did they send you those photos yet, or it's still they're editing them?
Dude, not yet. I guess Corona just kind of, or they kind of realized they were
Slow
just
things
shitty.
down.
I don't know.
No, I think that's so funny. Yeah, I was hitting Yasa, I was texting him whatever, and then all of a sudden he's sending me his flight details, and the dude's off to California, and he's getting freak. I think it was California or it was Florida, and he was no, it was
Or
California.
Palm
Yeah,
Springs.
and yeah, Palm Springs, awesome place. And he was freaking getting his pictures taken and getting paid for it. So honestly, there you go. That's what a serial entrepreneur is having any type of way, whether it's your looks or whatever it is, but profitizing off of it. That's not a word, but making a profit off of yourself. That's what a hustler does.
Seriously, I mean, at the end of the day, there's so much opportunity in the world. I think we talk about this all the time. Like building my Instagram alone is what allowed me to actually be there and get invited out with Aeropastel to say, "Hey, like you're Moroccan, we're doing a little Moroccan theme this year. Come out for us." And I think I told you the story already, but basically for the listeners, um, like it's an opportunity for me to build my personal brand even more, and I think it's so important in today's world that we do that. And I used to focus a lot on Instagram, but ultimately now, like it presented that opportunity and it has in many different ways. So, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day,
Good point.
yeah, it's beneficial.
Yeah, and I think exactly how you said it. People should take a lot away from that because how you build your online presence is how the person on the other end of the screen depicts you. So you post about being Muslim, that's your religion. You
Yeah,
post nice pictures on there. You do post really cool pictures. You show yourself very well on Instagram. I don't know if I do that personally too well, but I think it goes very well as a marketing basically a marketing brochure for companies that potentially see you if you use certain hashtags or post in certain groups or Instagram. Maybe they like you for you. They think you're, an attractive guy, and they're like, bam, we want him to model, and that's how it works. And then the rest is history, which is really cool, man. I think anyone can kind of do that if they put themselves out there. I think a lot of people struggle with putting themselves out there, and I think these podcasts kind of help people understand people putting themselves out there, taking the risk, and then reaping the rewards of that risk.
exactly. I mean, at the end of the day, someone might listen to this that presents an opportunity somewhere else. So, um,
Very true.
I think, yeah, I mean, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Well, appreciate you being on as always. I know it's a little late. We'll try to wrap these questions up and basically let's just hop right into it.
Yeah.
My first question, and I'm gonna let the listeners know you gave me some backlip about the Pepsi or Coke thing, but let me just let you know
My God.
that Vended Thoughts, the name says Vended in it. It's supposed to be vended themes in such a way where I still am able to do other things. So I need to have that one vending question in there. All right.
Yeah,
So
it makes
Pepsi
sense.
or Coke, my man? You're definitely a Coke guy because you're giving me backlip about the question.
All right, honestly, yes, I am totally a Coke guy. Okay, not
I
like
knew
the
it.
white kind of Coke, you know what I mean? But like, Coca Cola. Okay, I think Pepsi's a
Yes,
scam,
sir.
in my opinion. Pepsi's straight scam. That's
Why do you think Pepsi's a scam? Let me just hear what you have to say about this.
dude. To be honest, I don't even know if they came first or second, but they must have came second because I heard about them second, so they must have came second. But yeah, Coke,
That's
Coke
like
all
the chicken or the egg first, but let's go. Coke came before Pepsi, although only by a few years. So yeah, Coke was
exactly.
1886 and Pepsi was 1893. And honestly, let me
Cool.
just hit on this one point. First movers advantage for anyone that's listening that wants to get into business. And I know you know this point, Yas, but a first mover's advantage in any business that you start matters. And Coke and Pepsi, there is a 7-year difference. But to any listener here, tell me who is the more dominant player. That first mover's advantage really does a lot, doesn't it? Yes,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a big one. And it's not.
definitely, definitely.
I mean, at the end of the day, like obviously both companies. I think Coke expanded. has always expanded into so many different like names and kind of
Both thrive. I'm not
yeah.
saying one loses. They both are multi billion dollar companies, you know.
No, that's true, very true.
But there's room for many, but that first mover's advantage is actually a cool thing. And it's hard to do if you think about someone like Amazon. He wasn't first, but he was one of the first.
Yeah, they did it well. Dominate.
Very well. But yeah, let's move on into some more questions that kind of open you up to kind of let the listeners know exactly what you're doing essentially. And I think this question is actually a really cool question. I want to hear your thoughts on it. Let's talk about your main business, which is surplus hands.
Yeah.
Where do you see the freelancer industry, that community, going in the next 5 to 10 years? Do you see
Uh,
it going anywhere?
Yeah, I mean that's actually a really good question, and in my opinion, it's actually going in a very interesting direction because at the end of the day, we are used to kind of going to work and going home, and basically, that's the end of our day, and we get paid for the hours being there. But ultimately, the workplace is essentially going to change, and it's already changing considering Corona forced us to do this, and it's basically that we're going to work from home and actually be paid for the stuff that we actually do rather than for the hours that we worked. And that's really important because at the end of the day, that's really what a freelancer is, right? I mean, they're getting paid for the work that they did and not necessarily, coming into work and doing what they need to do. So basically, the reason I'm so focused on surplus hands, and this is something I don't necessarily, reveal to the public, but obviously this is, I'm down to say it how it is right now. But basically, surplus hands is a way for me to grab that market share, right? Before the transition happens, where you come in, you want to hire someone to do something that is, for example, logo design or something more professional. Basically, you can hire them for those few hours, you pay them, and then you move on to the next important person that you need to get something done. So really, that's where the shift is going, and it's 100% getting there. There's no doubt about it. Offices are closing down. They're forcing employees to go home because it's cheaper for companies. They don't have to pay them for just sitting there. So there's a lot of, that's kind of what's going on in the freelancer slash employment kind of community side of things.
Wow, that's very interesting because yeah, it is you become an employer with surplus hands, and it's not just being a freelancer, marketplace, but you actually become an employer for these businesses because, like you're saying, a lot of places are doing the what is it WFH type of thing, work from home movement. So
Oh
it's
yeah.
awesome because I think it's very cool perspective where you see the industry going, and I can't wait to see you on the top of it. Honestly, bro, super
Yeah,
cool.
man, we're getting there. I'm trying to see how I can transition really well and kind of grab my market share, especially when it doesn't necessarily mean I have investors or anything. To me, I've personally invested all my time and energy and money into this, so it's something that's taken a while to build. But at the same time, I'm building something that isn't necessarily easy to jump on. Right? If it was so easy for someone else to start, then at the end of the day, I'm really not going to be that successful, aren't I? So that's the way I think about
Very
it.
true. Yeah, you're building your moat around your castle. That's how I like to refer to it
Yeah.
because vending for me, I do things in vending that most vendors truthfully don't do, and I don't really discuss what I personalize and how I do certain things, but I think it's a slight moat, but it's not as big of a moat as you are doing with your online community and putting in the time and creating different things in technology because technology is very explosive in the way that it grows. So
Yeah, I
again, super excited to see where you grow with it, but I cut you off there. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say at the end of the day, it doesn't mean someone that does something similar to you is wrong or I'm wrong because at the end of the day, you're making money, you're putting food on the table, you're buying the things that you want, and that's really what's important. But for me, my focus is to I don't know why, but I just have this desire to like help people on a mass scale. And I think that's why we started Enhanced Entrepreneurs together because at the end of the day, if, 100,000 people are getting hired through my company, that would be amazing. I mean, that is a dream
Yeah.
of mine. I'm essentially helping them put food on the table, which for me is, I don't know, it's unmeasurable in terms of like benefit.
Yeah, which is so cool that you think about it that way, man. It's not just signing people up and taking their money. You really do think about it as I'm an employer of these people. I have to build the best platform possible. I've rushed you since you've had this platform in the beginning and telling you, hey, get it out there. And then now, a couple months later, how refined you've made it, how much better it is now, and you're continuing to refine it until it's absolutely perfect. You are slightly a perfectionist, and I've noticed that a little bit with the enhanced entrepreneurs. But at the end of the day, that is one way that it kind of works in business where, if you can perfect something for that end user, in the end, it benefits you immensely, even if it takes, two times the amount of time.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the reason why, and you're right, because sometimes I am a bit of a professionalist, and sometimes it's bad, sometimes it's good. But at the end of the day, I'm a marketer. So the problem with that is I think on of how am I going to sell this to someone, and if it's not 100%, and I'm even slightly not confident in it, it's going to show, right? Like it's going to show to my customers, it's going to show to the freelancers, it's going to show to the clients, and that isn't, sometimes it's not, in my opinion, it's not really the best thing, because there are competitors out there that perhaps do something very similar, and for you to grab that market share, you really need to be also at that level where you can confidently walk into a room and say, hey, listen, uh, use this service instead of their service, because at the end of the day, we're better. So
Yeah.
that's, basically how easy it is to sell something when you can say this is better, it's cheaper, it performs whatever the task is better. So it's a given, right? Like it's
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
it's how you do your vending as well. I mean, you walk into,
Absolutely. Yeah.
so yeah.
You do just have to kind of do it better than the next person. That's kind of what the 21st century has brought upon us. It's not, hey, I'm gonna jump into the railroad industry and be the biggest and baddest. It's kind of like, hey, I'm gonna sell on Amazon and just try to sell products just to make some money, or I'm gonna be a freelancer just to make some money on the side. It's kind of a side hustler community that I think we're entering a little bit, and a gig economy that we're kind of in the middle of.
Yep.
Obviously, people have their jobs and stuff and are doing that as well, but I think it becomes a area where obviously a lot of people did become unemployed by this, record numbers that we've never seen before. And it's like, hey, if you had a side hustle, if you were freelancing and already equipped with things that your website equips freelancers with, I think people would be able to kind of take that journey as well along with their work, as they're unemployed.
Exactly, and
So
that's really the part of. I know I'm speaking a lot about surplus hands, but at the end of the day, that's why there's kind of the educational side to it, right? Many people want to jump into the side hustle and this entrepreneurial spirit that everybody has lately, but they don't understand where to start. So that's kind of like also the difference where I'm kind of focusing on is the educational side, and additionally, basically when it comes to freelancing as a whole, it's becoming so saturated. Basically, this point is on an entrepreneurial level, I'm thinking. But when you have so many people trying to take your market share, the next best thing is to actually service that market share. So what I'm doing, if you think about it, is instead of me saying, "Oh, I can also do logos," or "I can also build websites," you're actually providing the space where those people can actually work, right? So you're kind of like
absolutely.
in the blue ocean rather in the red ocean. You're not fighting against everyone else to get those clients. You're it's easy for you at that point. So yeah.
Yeah, I love me a blue ocean. For anyone listening, the blue ocean is where you want to be. That's basically not starting the next Amazon, not saying, hey, I want to start the next big online e-commerce store. If you do, you want to do it in like a different type of approach, and that if you just do the Amazon, you're in the red ocean. If you, create the Amazon for a niche being XYZ, I don't know what it is,
Like
then that's
Etsy,
where your
for
blue
example.
ocean, obviously. Yeah,
Yeah.
Etsy. They're in a blue ocean for what they're doing. And it's a similar type of thing that Amazon is, but Amazon is a ruthless bitch and they have Amazon homemade now. So they basically are about to dominate Etsy, and I can't wait for it to happen. But I
Cool.
do know Etsy will be able to hold the market share because there's again, there's a community around Etsy, and it genuinely does help to have people that are kind of just like Etsy fangirls or fanboys.
Yeah. Gotta love branding. That's what it is.
Yeah, branding, 100%, man. And we went deep in that, but I like what we said. And let's move on. This question can be for others, but definitely for me in a sense. But in what ways do you think I can use, or how can I use virtual assistants and create an automated business? Do you have an answer to that? I know it's hard, but I know you used to do this. You used to obviously be strictly virtual assistants, and you've obviously transitioned. But
Yeah.
is it possible?
Yeah, so basically like a few years ago what I did is I provided virtual assistants and they would be focused on a certain topic, right? Whether it was admins or any kind of topic. But at the end of the day, I consulted a lot for companies into automating their processes. And virtual assistants or freelancers in general that can work from home and assist other businesses, basically you can automate the systems that you have in place, whether it's technical, whether it's very just repetitive, because at the end of the day, if you're wasting your time doing something that's not income producing, your business is simply not going to grow. So when you take virtual assistants and just teach them once how to do something and they can repetitively do it for you, I mean, that's golden right there. So um,
Yeah, wow.
it's what you
Yeah.
need.
Yeah, very simply put, an awesome answer and super true. Definitely looking into it, and I did hit you up on that. I know you've definitely been busy, but I'm definitely looking into how I can do it with certain tasks. And
Yeah.
like you exactly said, just kind of it just multiplies you as a person. If you set them up to do certain tasks that are income producing for your business, then essentially it's a no brainer to hire someone or to outsource that, you know?
Yeah, and most people think it's not affordable, but in reality, it totally is, because if one person just costs you an hour's worth of work to eliminate that 1 hour, and then for you to focus on the bigger picture to grow your business even more, then you're really not going to care about that 1 hour or that 2 hours that you're paying for. So, yeah, I mean,
No, yeah,
definitely.
100%, man. Very cool. Very cool. Definitely going to be hiring some virtual assistants through surplushands.com. And this podcast definitely is a shameless plug for Surplus Hands because I know you've been working hard on it and honestly it's coming out awesome. But, we didn't expect to obviously talk about it that much, but I honestly think it is the future of freelancing. So let's let
Appreciate
this podcast be the marker for it.
for the growth that it's coming towards. Absolutely. No, I'm
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
you. Finish your sentence because I know it's happening.
No, dude, it's the future, man. I'm just excited. I'm excited to be your friend and see you grow with it. And I did tell you I'm gonna be the vice president of something one day of that company.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Of the local office.
Janitorial supplies.
That's what I was gonna
I'm
say.
I'm gonna be vice president of janitorial services.
Nah, dude, you're gonna be president of that one, not VP.
Sounds good, man. Oh, it's too funny. So many thoughts. All right. Moving on to the next question. Is your view of your business grounded in reality? I've been asking everyone this question. It's an interesting question. Do you understand it? Two guests out of the last three didn't.
Honestly, I need you to clarify that one.
All
What is
right.
your view?
So basically, is the way you view surplus hands and where it's going to be in the future grounded in your actual reality of what it is? Because someone with a vending business thinking, okay, I'll make $1 million a year with vending. I personally don't do that. So is my business grounded in reality when I say, hey, can this be $1 million business? Do I know that? I'm not sure.
Okay. I mean, to clarify, I guess the way that I see it first is, yeah, I do see it as a place where it can service thousands and hundreds of thousands of people, whether it's clients that want to hire people or people that are looking for work or people that are looking to educate themselves on how to create an extra income. So for me, it is grounded because that's really what I'm trying to build is an automated system that allows somebody to simply go in there and do all of that at once, right? And
That's
not feel
awesome.
like, yeah, they're being, gypped or scammed or anything. It's not a place for you to get rich quick. I mean, it's grounded. Like, this is the reality of it. You have to put in the work. You have to hire people. You have to do this, create systems, etc. So yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. I like your answer. Thank you. Moving along. Yeah, definitely interested in this. I'm sure you do, but do you learn from your mistakes?
Oh, to be honest, I have made hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of mistakes. And to be honest, I'm 26 at this point, and I've been an entrepreneur since 16. I started my first business at 16, and it was a successful business. But at the end of the day, I took so many years to actually learn certain lessons instead of asking and listening to the right people of what their experiences were. Even though certain people might not be in the same niche as you or have the same business experience as you. If they're an entrepreneur and they have that business mindset and they've experienced certain things in their life, it is very crucial to listen to them. And that's the mistake that I did. Is I thought, oh, I don't need to listen to that. I know what I need to do. But at the end of the day, it is very important to sit there and actually take into consideration what others are doing and the mistakes they've made. And that's ultimately my mistake, is not learning from other people's mistakes.
Full
Does that
cycle
make
right
sense?
there. But honestly, it makes so much sense. And I couldn't agree with you more, even in my personal life. You do personally, we all do. Unless maybe you don't. And I'm sorry for saying this, but we have two ears and one mouth. So we're supposed to listen twice as much as we speak. And I think from basically 13 when we start to develop metacognition, which is the ability to know that we develop our own thoughts. You kind of start to mature up obviously at 13, but from 13 to like 18 we kind of think we're know-it-alls, and our egos are at their like biggest point. So we think we can create everything, and especially in being a business owner at, think about it, I started at 14 or 15, you started at 16. We probably thought we had the world on our shoulders saying
Mhm.
what we're going to accomplish and what we're going to do. So no one could talk to us or stop us because we weren't grounded in our reality. And it's kind of one of the reasons I asked that question. I was not grounded in reality when I was 14, joining a pyramid scheme. It really was a pyramid scheme selling energy drinks. I was like, I'm going to be a millionaire in a month. What the who thinks that? Like, that is not a thing. Like, so it's super
So
true though. Definitely, yeah, it's definitely have to listen. And you know, there might be, obviously don't listen to someone that's in a position that you don't want to be in. I think that's also a big thing, but definitely
yes,
listen to everyone and come from a place of neutrality. I would say, come from a place of equalness. When people speak to you, don't say no, that's incorrect. Just say, you know what, I'll take what you're saying into consideration, and still do what you want to do, but just take it into consideration. So
exactly.
super
That's
awesome.
a big point. No, that's a very big point.
Definitely. I like that, man. And I definitely want to transcribe this podcast, I just thought, and super excited to do that.
Yeah, let's do it.
Um Now switching, I guess, to the other side. What was the happiest moment in your life? I'm curious if you have one, and it is a hard question in my opinion, but
Wow, that is a very strong question. What is the moment of your life?
or one that really lit you up, I guess.
Oh, to be honest, it was landing literally my first client when it came to surplus hands. Imagine like building a
Very
website,
cool, yeah.
not even knowing. And here's the thing, like, with business, as much as a website is important, all these things are very important, like business cards, etc., your image, etc. At the end of the day, if you can solve the problem for someone, then simply they will pay you for it. And that's, I got on a call with a financial advisor. I told them, hey, listen, I have a virtual assistant that can help you. It costs X, Y, and Z for, and just so I'm clear, it was $600 a month. Okay, imagine a 21-year-old calling someone and saying, $600 a month, and guess what? The guy paid, and he continued to pay for over a year. Um, so that was my first client, and it worked out very well. So at the end of the day, that was my happiest moment. I didn't realize I could do it, but holy shit, I could. Like, it was that easy. So
Yeah, which is definitely one of those awesome things. And that's the same with landing my first, vending account. That's going back to gumball machines when I was 17 years old. Like, it was super it that feeling of that first account, that feeling of that first sale, that feeling of that first person saying yes to whatever you're selling is the best thing. And the other
yeah,
point that goes to what you're saying is money is a byproduct of value creation, There's no other formula for it unless you're dealing. Honestly, no, there is no other formula for it. Even if you're dealing drugs or doing anything illegal, there is an exchange of value provided for what you're paying for, and that's a big thing
Yeah.
people need to realize.
No,
So
that's a
you
that's
obviously
a very
you were providing $600 worth of value. Obviously, maybe there's people charging $1,200 for the same value. But again, it's what you perceive your time as, and obviously, you were just starting at your first client. I know you made way more from clients, and you did have a very successful business, and you did very well. But it's just very cool. Perception is cool with things.
you actually made a really good point. Like, so I actually did charge a lot less than what others were, and it was that value, the value kind of trade, right? Like I was providing something much more valuable than the money that I was charging. So I was actually, I think at that point I was losing money on it, but he never utilized the entire service. So at the end of the day, I made money anyway. But
Hmm.
it's important to know that I was losing money. I was supposed to lose money on that client because I was undercharging. But it worked out in the end anyway. So took the chance
And
and it worked.
that's a cool perspective. I want to land this here. I probably should just leave it to the end, but we're gonna move on after this. Is basically never rush anything in life. Never rush to that next moment, that next goal, that $1 million, that 10 million, that 100K. That whatever it is, the $100 a day goal, because life has a way of lining up in some way for whatever you want. And if you rush any single part of it, you're not going to have those building blocks of whatever you rush into. And I realized that today, and I think it was such a cool friggin' point. It was like my life would not be where it is right this second if I was still rushing over the past 2 years. I learned to slow down. 2 years, 3 years, basically after I graduated college, I learned to slow down and kind of enjoy each step of it, because either way, you're going to hit your goals eventually. If you're a year delayed, 2 years delayed, you will hit those goals if you have them on a piece of paper. That is just a pure fact. That's just kind of how it works. And if you rush those 2 years, if you rush into something, whatever you're doing may not come out nearly as good as it would if you took those skills over the 2 years not rushing. Cool
Yeah.
point. Super tangent, but
No, just honestly, one more tangent I think that's really important is I think about a year ago I said there's going to be a huge shift in the guru space, right? People that like act like that they know the world and they can teach everybody how to start a business and all these various different businesses, whether it's social media, e-commerce, etc. Have we not noticed in the past maybe 6 months, people have been falling out of, not literally, but falling out of the sky because they can't afford to pay rent. They can't afford the Lamborghini that they were renting out. So it's important to see that how quickly they grew and how quickly these guys are falling. If you want to stay at the top, look, you got to take the stairs. You can't just flap your wings up there and then come crashing down when you're tired. Like, you know what I mean? So
yeah, we're birds now. We're birds now.
yeah, I'm not gonna name drop here, but a certain guy that rides in the back of a Bentley on Instagram just couldn't pay his 30 grand, 30 grand. What is it? House rental fee or whatever. I mean, 30 grand is a lot.
I'm thinking I know who exactly you're talking about, but I didn't know that was the case.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And I think he got sued. So guys,
Holy crap.
don't be doing that.
But yeah, I get your full circle on that point, because we were rushing to be gurus in some sense. And in no light are we gurus at what we do. Do we have expertise in what we do? We're not experts, but do we have expertise in what we do? Absolutely. Do we have the years of experience in what we do? Absolutely. But we're not gurus in a sense. And I think a lot of these guys are like, oh, I have 2 years of drop shipping experience. Bro, you haven't even had a full cycle of 8 years of an economic downturn. Now there's friggin' COVID. Guess what? Your shipping time was up to 3 months. You're not selling $100,000 worth of product anymore. Like, it's nearly impossible. If you're just being a scam artist, that doesn't work. But if you're an actual private labeler, which a lot of these guys weren't, these gurus, you're not going to obviously make as much money.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, to be honest, even the e-commerce space in general, those margins are small. I've consulted with a lot of e-commerce companies. Because I've done consulting a lot, and throughout
Super
my
small. And I
time,
just realized this year, it's kind of sad.
yeah, I mean, it is sad, and that's why like you see businesses struggle to kind of stay afloat, whether it's because that product, or that basically that product goes out of the what am I trying to say here is basically um
It just falls out of the economic cycle, essentially. I know what
yeah,
you're trying to say.
yeah, people stop buying it, so ultimately you kind of need to start another one. So that's what I'm trying to say here.
Yeah, very, very long tangent, but I think there's a lot of points to be made there, and I hope people understand you can't just, throw up a website and think you're going to make sales. Maybe you will, but it won't be sustainable for your kids in, 10, 20 years or whenever down the road.
Yeah, yeah, it can be, but I mean, with what they do,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And what they do and what they teach you, debatable. I'm not going to sit here and say I know, but definitely
Yeah.
debatable. Um, you're young, you're talented, you're obviously a good looking guy since you modeled for a bankrupt company, Aeropostale. Just kidding, they're not bankrupt. What do you see derailing your plans in life or business?
At the end of the day, man, it's customers. If you don't have customers, your business is going to flop. I mean, and you don't want it to flop, but it's gonna flop if you don't have customers to buy in. So yeah, that's
That's very true. The most simple answer to that question that we've probably had on this podcast. And yeah, man,
well, I've been
if
ranting,
you
so I want to like bring it back a little bit.
yeah, I got you, but that's super true. Customers, end of the day, if you don't have them walking in your door, that door will be locked up because you won't pay your bills. And that's
Yeah,
essentially
exactly.
it.
And stop working on the inside, right? Like, don't work on the inside if nobody's walking.
So true, man.
Yeah, you got to work on the
Wow.
outside first,
That's
then the inside.
so true.
So
Honestly, Apple was started in a garage, but guess what? They left the garage and sold the shit out of those computers, and then those computers bought the inside of the sickest billion-dollar campus that they made wherever that was. Such a
so
good point.
it
So
is,
cool, man. So cool. All right, moving along before I get too excited about that.
bro. It's
Is
12:30. You're getting a little too excited. That's all I'm saying.
I honestly, and I that's why I kind of love these podcasts, man. For some reason, when I talk to people, I learn so much, and it really just excites me.
No, it is.
It really does.
It's awesome, man.
Very
I
cool.
love this.
It is. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Is there something else you would love to do? I'm very interested in this. Any hobby or other thing you enjoy besides your current businesses? I'm very interested in this as
Just
a
a
friend.
hobby in general.
Sure. I mean, other things that you're interested that maybe you wouldn't be doing at this exact moment.
To be honest, I've picked up stocks. I wouldn't say recently, but I've been trading a little bit, whether it's cryptocurrency, but more so stocks lately. And I know there's an influx of people trading stocks lately, but to be honest, I really enjoy it. Right? I mean, it revolves around money, and who doesn't love money? But um, basically, I
True.
love the research aspect and learning the fundamentals of a chart and understanding what's going on in the finance world. So to me, to be honest, I've been really enjoying that. This is a new hobby for me, and I've been really enjoying it. So some people might call it work, but to me, I see it as a slight hobby because it doesn't take up much of your time. So
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, honestly, I think everyone was killing it on Kodak, but I can't believe you made nearly $8,000, the average 2 month salary for an American in one single day. All right, you have to pay your taxes, but so awesome. And you've had some really, really cool trades and you've built your account up like awesome. So it is a
yeah,
good side hustle. And I know it doesn't take up a lot of your time because I know you're doing everything else, but good for you, man. Good
yeah.
side hustle.
Just as a reference, today's date is the 30th, but at the same time, I want to say INO is going to be a crazy stock. It's worth $21 right now. I'm putting it out there, dude. I'm exposing
We're the
myself.
disclaimer publicly. We do not do your due diligence on stocks, but we will mark it as this because if it is $2 in a month from now, then we know that you're a scam over here.
Yeah, yeah. Wait. This is not
Just kidding.
financial advice. Don't
Yes,
be out there buying it. And if you do, I
exactly.
don't know you. You don't know me. I. I
We're
don't know
giving
why.
out sketchy stock tips on here, but no, truthfully, I know I have looked into it. Do your due diligence on the stock. I know if you are a stock trader, it is a good stock. They do have potential for the vaccine, and
Yeah,
yeah, we'll see. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah, we'll move forward so we don't get sued. All right.
How, and I guess just handful of ways, one or two ways. How do you advertise your online business, your marketplace?
That's a good question. I mean, advertising businesses, there's a system to it. You really can't advertise, businesses in general, in infinite amount of ways. I think it comes to content creation. That's something I'm going to start focusing on personally. But paid advertising always works. It gives you an ROI, right? A return of investment. So for me, basically, right now, like it takes me $1 to register a freelancer within our community, right? If I invest 10,000, we might create 10,000 freelancers within our community. So at the end of the day, for me, paid advertising is the way to go. It targets your market. It gets you the client, or it gets you the potential user that you want on your platform, and that's it. I mean, that's the best for me.
Yeah, wow. Makes sense, man. And I just asked that question because people do advertise in weird ways sometimes. So I always see if people want to share their weird ways. But yeah, that's basically the best way. You have to pay to play. And if anyone listened to that big tech pro by Congress, all these big guys basically all they talked about is pay to play. Like if you want to be on their platform, you're gonna pay. And that's all it is at the end of the day.
And there's a reason they say that. I mean, at the end of the day, it's pay to play because ultimately you're reaching a larger audience. If I post on my Facebook status every day that I do X, Y, and Z, please buy from me, guess what? I'm never going to have new buyers because I'm advertising to the same goddamn people all the time. You need to expand your audience, whether it's new connections, whether it's new emails, new whatever. But at the end of the day, paid advertising allows you to do that, is to reach a wider audience more and more and more and more as people grow on a certain platform that you're advertising on. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's I don't want to say it's the only real thing for what I'm about to say, but it's kind of the big way to scale any business. Any big company, their marketing budget is usually pretty huge.
Yeah. A lot of it is usually going that way. Look at Uber. I mean, most of their money.
Ooh,
Yeah.
exactly. It's just burn rate. They did was raise investments and burn the cash in getting new customers. So
Yeah.
amazing. Such a
Grabbing
cool company. I am invested in them long term. I do see them being something in the next 5 to 10 years, but I'm holding my hands. I'm sitting on my hands. I don't know what's gonna happen.
I'm with you on that one. I'm definitely with you on that one. But
Yeah,
yeah,
we shall see, man.
we shall see.
Next question. And wow, we're talking a lot. This is gonna be a long one. What made you choose to create a freelancer marketplace?
Um,
I know
uh,
it was like a progression. It was a progression to this exact point, and you did other things under the surplus hands brand. But what made you choose freelancers? And honestly, you already answered it. So basically, answer what you said before.
Yeah, I mean, my answer earlier was essentially like, for me, the focus is to help people on a mass scale. So for me to hire those individuals, not necessarily myself, but to allow them to be hired and really put, bread on the table for themselves, or create a side hustle for themselves. And to me, that's very beneficial, whether it's kind of on a spiritual level and or on a financial level. It doesn't matter for me. It's critical that I do that, because that's just my core inside telling me, you know, to see that person make an extra $100 a month or $1,000 a month is makes me extra happy. So, yeah, I mean, I
Yeah,
basically.
love that. Yeah, you did answer that earlier, and obviously repeating that is super cool because I've heard you say that, but honestly, to know and hear it in your voice that that's kind of really what you want to do is super awesome. So excited to see you do that. What's one thing that motivates you to work on your business? And I think the answer may again be the same exact thing, but maybe you have something else.
Honestly, it's the same answer. It truly is like when I used to, because I originally had a virtual assistant company. It's very similar, but I did everything manually. Um, at the end of the day, just giving them that paycheck, honestly, it puts a smile on their face, even though I know I don't see it because we're working virtually, but I know it truly does. Especially when they come to me and say, hey, do you have any extra work, and I give them to it. like the happiness that comes from that is amazing, because perhaps they were trying to buy gifts for Christmas for, their children or something. So yeah, it's truly heartwarming.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Super, super awesome. Next question, and I guess this won't be the same answer, is what makes you, maybe it is, which what makes you take on and accomplish uncomfortable tasks?
To be honest, there's like this force that basically instinctual force for us to be able, like, it's hard to describe because it's a feeling that I experience, and ultimately it's to be the best, right? It's to truly try to be the best at what I do, and that's what allows me to do something that I'm very uncomfortable with.
I love
It's
that.
something, yeah, I create inside myself to try to be, even though I'm completely okay with me not being the best, but I try to use that as a force to push me forward. Um,
I love that. And I think you will be the best, man, with that attitude. And I think obviously it's personality type A, personality type B. People can look that up if you don't know. But, wanting to be the best is a personality. Some people don't have it. It's a 50-50 split thing, but super awesome, man. And you will be the best at what you do. I know your vision with what you're doing. And now I know your why for why you're doing it. And those two things, I feel like you're really unstoppable, man.
Yeah, again, it's the force allowing me to do that, and I really appreciate your comments, honestly. Even though I know we speak a lot, like, coming from you, yeah, it's truly humbling.
No worries, man. No worries. Moving on again. Where do you see yourself in 10 years? And it is a double edged question. So I snuck two questions in here and I do apologize. Where do you see yourself in 10 years? Where do you see the internet in 10 years?
Very interesting. Where do you see yourself in 10 years? Um, on a financial level, honestly, I see myself potentially selling my company or retiring early, and the reason for that is because throughout my childhood, like, I- my parents have always worked very hard. They didn't really spend time with us too much because we're immigrants at the end of the day. So when you come here to the U.S., you really have nothing, right? You have to work very hard to get to a certain level. And for me, I truly want to retire early to be able to kind of spend that time with my kids and really develop a family. And it's not that, like, I never had the best family life. My family is the greatest in my opinion. um but yeah, that's basically, I really want to be.
Dad, mom, brother, if you're listening, he stumbled a little bit on you guys being the best. So, I'm just kidding, man.
Why are you like that?
All right, fair. Retire in 10 years or semi retire. I think retiring, it's a very interesting word because I see myself retiring at like 43, 45. But the word is not your 65-year-old retirement. It's a do wake up and do exactly what I want. I think we're making sacrifices now and not doing exactly what we want. But in 10 years, we're going to be able to wake up and say, you're going to still maybe run surplus hands, but maybe you're running it in a bigger light. You're working on the bigger picture. You're not working on the day to day growth.
Yeah, potentially. And 10 years is a very quick time when I really think about it. Like, I mean, at that point I would be 36, so that's very young in reality.
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that's my thought process.
Did you answer where you see the internet in the next 10 years?
No, I did not. But in terms of the internet, um
In
I
2030, what do you see the internet being?
it's interesting. The internet, I actually see it as people are gonna realize the internet is more of a distraction to us than a beneficiary. How do I say this? Benefit. What is
A
the word I'm looking for?
beneficiary. I think it's
Yeah, yeah,
beneficial. It's beneficial.
yeah. It's a little late here, guys, so give me a break. But But basically, that's what it is. The internet is a huge distraction right now to us just simply moving forward and growing as a person in general. Everyone's, so focused on TikTok, on Instagram, then video games, then calling your friend, then FaceTime. So at the end of the day, I think a lot of focus about is going to be avoiding really the internet, is focusing on real life matters, and that's kind of where I see the internet heading. it's going to be seen as a distraction. And I mean, look at Apple. Their software already tells you, "Hey, look, you're using your phone too much. Do you want to stop now?" So there's those notifications that you could set up already.
Very true, and that's exactly what I think to a point. I agree and disagree with what you're saying. I think it is a distraction, and more people are realizing every single day at this point. And I think in the future it will be more of a distraction. I don't know how the change of it will be like an Amazon Alexa. That might be a more part of our life because talking will have to be there. We won't be able to look on our phones potentially. I don't know how distracted we'll be, but I
Point.
see it a little differently.
Yeah, no, there's definitely a lot of sides to it for sure. I mean, you
We
make
don't
a
know. We don't know. And, no one knows, but it's always a question to ask to kind of see, what could
question.
happen. Next question. How powerful do you believe your mindset is on your success in business?
I think it's very important to be honest, because at the end of the day, when well, not really at the end of the day, at the start of my day, when I have a really good mindset, honestly, I get a lot done. My ideas are flowing. My workflow is great, and when your mindset is just off, like if you're simply not doing something right, or you failed at something. Usually you have a really bad day. So the way that I see it is really trying to make sure that every day I'm waking up with that attitude. And especially when you work for yourself, you have to realize that your mindset is really everything. There's no boss to tell you, hey, listen, you better do X, Y, and Z. Um, it's your mind solely telling you to do X, Y, and Z and to do it the best. So yeah.
Very true, man. And that's pretty much it. And I just always try to ask everyone's perspective, but thank you for your answer and I like it.
Yeah.
Moving right along, getting close here to my favorite question, but what's the biggest struggle you face as a business owner?
As a business owner, ultimately, it's one of the biggest struggles is ultimately to build a business. It requires money, and it's at the end of the day, you have to reinvest in your business over and over and over and again to actually, turn it into something bigger than what it's supposed to be. So,
That's a
uh,
good point.
yeah, I mean, kind of cut off on that answer, but yeah, it's a tough one because there's a lot of struggles that you go through as a business owner. You have to overcome them at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, good perspective. Let's change the light a little bit. I know I've been hammering you with questions, and honestly, man, I really do appreciate your answers. I think there's a lot of gems here in this podcast.
Yeah, it's a long
Um,
one, but jumping around, you could definitely have some really good info here
yeah,
if
and I got to figure out how I'm going to chop them up, and I think I might hire a virtual assistant for that to kind of just go in and chop things up and kind of transcribe this. But
oh, I
moving
heard
along to the go ahead,
do that.
go ahead.
I just wanted to let you know I think surplus hands can do that.
Yeah, I know a guy for sure, for sure. Tell me a joke. I'm looking for a laugh, man. It's late. It is
Oh,
12:55
joke.
a.m. Let's
Um, Let me think of one. I mean, I know a lot of jokes about unemployed people, but none of them work. So, yeah.
go. Yo, all right. You know what? I'm gonna start grading that. That was a 10 out of 10 joke, man. Oh
Oh,
my god, the
great. And
joke, the
yeah,
joke.
that worked
Very
so
good
well
joke, man.
considering the whole conversation today.
It does fit, and I'm glad you went along with our question base. I do appreciate that. I don't know if we're gonna finish in the next 5 minutes. I want to quickly say if this is on any other platform that doesn't allow me to upload an hour, this will cut off here, and the next couple questions will be on YouTube or on Anchor or on Spotify. Just type in Vended Thoughts and type in Yass Yass, and you'll be able to find it. But moving on, we got three
Awesome.
more questions here, and I know you have failed, but tell the public, have you ever failed in business before?
Um, to be honest,
And maybe not the word
like fail.
failed. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's a
it's
strong word
relative.
for
It's a
sure.
relative word. I'm I'm cutting
Yeah.
you off, but yeah, it's a strong word.
No, at the end of the day, like, you can continue to work on a business really for as long as you want. I mean, you do fail at certain parts. Like, for me, Surplus Hands originally, I provided virtual assistants, and I did all the manual work, which is basically hiring people, telling them who to talk to and what to do. And at the end of the day, it's not scalable. I mean, to compete with your competitors, it just simply wasn't scalable. So that's where I failed. And that's kind of why I decided, hey, let me switch this into a platform based company where I'm able to go in there and, well, not me personally, but someone else is able to go in there and complete all the tasks that I used to do all in one place. So, in retrospect, I did fail, but at the end of the day, I, fixed that situation with another solution.
Super cool, and I think that's how anyone should live their life: is fix a problem with another solution or make it better, which is honestly super cool. But me personally, I have failed many times in business, and I think there's other people that I speak to, and it's like, oh no, I just gave up on the idea. But for me, I've just plain, I think the word is just failure. But
You like to
moving
be a little
moving
hard
on.
on
I
yourself.
Yeah, sure,
At the end
but
of the day,
I've
there's no gigs,
started 25 I've started 25 plus brands or businesses, however you'll classify them as such. But, and honestly, how many last? Only a handful. So
but
I've
you learned.
definitely failed in lights, but I've learned. Yeah, I'm not saying failure is the end all be all. And if you fail, it's the end of the world. No, but
Yeah,
it's a stepping stone. And if I didn't fail at some of the businesses that still stick with me to this day, uh, in terms of like how I feel about them or what I learned, I wouldn't be successful in a lot of these other things. In terms of even this podcast and how to market the podcast or where to put it or my YouTube channel, I needed to fail to know what would succeed, and that's just
yeah,
kind of
100%.
how it works.
100%.
So,
That's so true. Very true.
what is your big dream? What is your end goal? We kind of discussed it a little bit, but what's your end goal?
Dude, my
Big
end
dream?
goal is to just honestly it is financial freedom and time freedom. That's really my big dream is to be able to wake up in the morning, be able to do what I want, when I want, how I want. And my end goal, honestly, if I went really crazy, is to, you know, be at a certain point financially where I'm able to have a nonprofit. And I think we spoke about this personally before, where we both share similar ideas when it comes to that is putting a smile on someone's face is worth more than a Lamborghini. And I've said this to multiple people. So yeah, while some people might have that end goal, of course I want a Lamborghini, but that'd be also cool to kind of service some people that really need it.
Yeah. Wow. All right.
Yeah.
Good, good to know. Good to know. And honestly, man, I'm excited. I think go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I cut you off, but I said it's a little cliche, but it's the truth. So
And that's exactly it. And I think, cliche or not, if it's the truth, then it's the truth to you.
yeah, and the
Um,
truth shall set you free.
that is what they say. That is what they say. One last question. We're just gonna hit over the hour mark, which isn't terrible, but I'm sorry for anything over the hour. I owe you $1. What's really holding you back from your big goals and dreams happening in the next 6 months to a year instead of the next, I don't know, 5 years, 10 years?
What's really
Similar
hard?
to the Elon Musk question, it's basically, if you have a plan for 10 years of what your company's going to do, why not plan to do it in 6 and then fail on your ass and maybe get it done in a year instead of 10?
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
the question.
when you look at it, like in terms of my company, just like any major company that goes, public or creates a revenue of millions or even $1 billion. What is important for them is investors, and investors allow them to actually do things very quickly. And really, that is what is currently hindering me. So if there was, because at the end of the day, money in a business allows it to not only grow, but create systems inside of it that allow it to actually service that growth, whether it's you're selling a product, or that's why Shark Tank exists in general. So
Hmm.
yeah, I mean that's kind of what would hinder or hold back my goals or dreams.
Yeah, wow. I mean, psh, awesome answers to everything. You got your head on with these answers because I think that's
I
an
appreciate
awesome closing. Yeah, no worries. That's an awesome closing statement because it's like, sure, all right, you can go on paper and say, all right, I'll do it in 6 months. I'll do everything I can. But at the end of the day, if you don't have that built up infrastructure of what you're trying to create across hundreds of thousands of people, millions of people, hopefully one day, you kind of won't be able to do it. So it's
it. Yeah,
definitely a
absolutely.
progressive realization of a worthy ideal, Earl Nightingale's idea of success. So progressively keep, making the idea of surplus hands come to life. I think it's coming along great. I know you're doing some awesome things behind the scenes that we won't mention here because obviously they are in beta, but very excited for the public to
Yes,
see what
sir.
you're doing. And if you haven't, surplushands.com, check it out. Check out Yass, Instagram, YouTube, and man, awesome podcast. Thank you so much for coming on. We're kind of in our closing area. So if you have anything to say, any closing remarks, the floor is yours.
Yeah, man. I just honestly, I really appreciate you having me on here. I appreciate anybody that actually reached to the end here as well. Feel free to reach out to me, honestly, by DM, email, whatever. I'm more than happy to help or clarify something that I might have said today. But other than that, thank you very much, Dom. I really appreciate it. And take care. I'm going to go to sleep now.
Me too, man. Thank you for coming on.
All right, brother. Take care.